Welcome to the Spy Archive, where forgotten shadows of history come back to life. Tonight, we uncover the untold story of Mata Hari, the dancer who bewitched kings and generals, yet paid the ultimate price for secrets she may, or may not, have kept. Even among the shadowy world of spies and double agents, there exists a single name that burns brighter, an emblem of mystery, seduction, and betrayal. The legend of Mata Hari has loomed over the world of espionage for more than a century, captivating historians, authors, performers, and dreamers alike. Who was the woman beneath the name? And how did she become the most famous spy the world has ever known? Mata Hari. The name alone conjures images of forbidden liaisons and secret messages exchanged amid the clinking of champagne glasses in candlelit ballrooms. But before the legend, she was simply Margaretha Geertruida Zell, born on August 7, 18th in Leeuwarden, a quiet city in the northern Netherlands, a land of windmills, canals, and endless green fields. Her father ran a modest millinery business while her mother tended to the home, but the Zell household was no storybook paradise. Her father's fortunes waxed and waned, leaving the family vulnerable, a lesson young Margaretha would never forget. Early loss and hardship marked her upbringing. Her mother died when Margaretha was 13. Her father's infidelities and bad investments soon forced the family apart. Margaretha, restless and ambitious, felt herself stifled by the gray landscape of Leeuwarden. Even as a teenager, she was drawn to stories of the exotic East, of adventure and romance far away from the confines of Dutch propriety. Barely out of school, she answered a newspaper advertisement for marriage to Rudolf MacLeod, a Dutch colonial officer stationed in the distant Dutch East Indies, modern-day Indonesia. It was a gamble, a young woman's leap into the unknown. The two corresponded briefly, and then, hardly knowing each other, they wed. Margaretha set sail for Java, a land intoxicating in its beauty and danger. Their marriage, at first, was a dream, lavish parties with colonial high society, endless evenings on their villa veranda watching fireflies drift among the palms. But passion curdled into jealousy, as Rudolf revealed himself to be an unstable, heavy-drinking, and violent man. Margaretha, so lively and driven, chafed under his cruelty. Their two children became silent witnesses to the domestic storms that battered the household. Tragedy struck them with cruel swiftness. Their son died mysteriously, some whispered of poisoning, others of childhood sickness, leaving only their daughter, Nan, behind. Accusations and resentment deepened the rift with Rudolf. When their marriage finally collapsed, Margaretha faced a bleak future, separated from her child, penniless, and adrift, a European in a colonized land. But disaster, for Margaretha, was never the end of the story. She fashioned for herself a new identity. Returning briefly to the Netherlands, she was denied legal and financial recourse by Rudolf, who kept Nan far from her. Margaretha decided to abandon not just her marriage, but her entire past. In 1903, she traveled to Paris, the city of reinvention, the city that would become both her stage and her crucible. Paris in the Belle Époque was a city intoxicated by the new art, fashion, aviation, electricity. Margaretha arrived with little money and no connections, but the flame of her ambition burned undiminished. She found work as a model, then as a circus performer, even as an artist's muse. It was a life precarious as a tightrope. Never enough money, but always the chance to catch the eye of someone powerful. She watched as dancers from the East, Javanese, Indian, Egyptian, bewitched Parisian audiences with their movements and their mystery. Drawing upon the dances she had witnessed in Java, Margaretha crafted for herself a new persona. She named herself Mata Hari, Malay for the eye of the day, the sun itself. Her first performance at the Musée Guémet in 1905 was an immediate sensation. Mata Hari's routine was unlike anything Paris had seen. A theatrical melange of Eastern rituals and Western fantasy, veiled with silk scarves and slow, hypnotic undulations. She danced barefoot, her dark hair cascading down her back, her arms adorned with golden bangles. Instead of simply performing, she told stories with her movements, stories of love, despair, and seduction. Men and women alike were enthralled. After years of obscurity, Mata Hari transformed herself into the toast of Paris, a celebrity with the power to command attention in every room she entered. fame came fast. Soon, Mata Hari was headlining at the Moulin Rouge, the Folies Bergère, and theaters across Europe. She enchanted the wealthy and the powerful, collecting lovers like trophies, aristocrats, diplomats, businessmen, military officers. Her boldness made her irresistible. She wore her independence like a shimmering cloak, and Paris could not look away. Yet beneath the glamour, Mata Hari lived on the brink. Her fortune was made not merely of dance, but of careful calculation. She was always conscious of her position, neither truly Dutch nor truly Eastern, neither fully beloved nor entirely trusted. She existed in the liminal spaces between cultures, between love and manipulation, between performer and prey, and in the heady months just before the First World War, that in-between world turned dangerous. In 1914, Europe was a powder keg of jostling empires and tangled alliances. Mata Hari, ever the cosmopolitan, received offers to perform in Berlin. It was there, behind the veil of diplomatic courtesies, that she met a man named Karl Kromer, a German military attaché. He admired her performance, yes, but he had another purpose. Exploiting her connections and allure, he invited her into the world of espionage, promising lavish rewards in exchange for harmless information. For Mata Hari, whose expensive tastes and uncertain finances demanded constant sources of income, the offer was tempting, if not irresistible. She accepted, and so began her first errand, delivering coded messages between German officers and their European contacts, gleaned from pillow talk and backstage whispers. She was a novice, yet a natural. The skills that had made her a star, adaptability, charm, nerve, now became the tools of a spy. The theater of seduction turned into the theater of secrets, but she was not content to dance for one side alone. As the war ground on and the noose of suspicion drew tighter around foreigners, Mata Hari's position grew precarious. In 1916, she was contacted by Captain Georges Ledoux of French intelligence, who suspected her German affiliations. He offered her a choice: continue as she was, or work for France. Mata Hari, never one to refuse a challenge, agreed, believing herself clever enough to play both sides. She became a double agent. Her new arrangement was thrilling, but perilous. She agreed to travel to Madrid to seduce high-ranking German officers, sending their secrets back to Paris. Money and promises flowed in both directions. Yet every secret she passed, every lover she ensnared, tightened the invisible chains around her. Both German and French intelligence watched her closely. Spies began to whisper her name in less adoring tones. Mata Hari, the traitor, the manipulator, the double dealer. The world around her narrowed. The stakes rose. In hotel suites and drawing rooms across Europe, she listened carefully, recorded names and dates, and relayed them according to whichever master demanded first. But in the end, one cannot serve two masters and hope to keep their trust forever. It was not a brilliant piece of spycraft that doomed Mata Hari, but a fatal miscalculation. The Germans, aware she was compromised, began sending her messages in code easily broken by the French. Whether out of spite, frustration, or calculated sacrifice, they set her up to fall. In early 1917, the French intercepted a message identifying Agent H. 21, Mata Hari, as a German spy. The rest was inevitable. In February 1917, Mata Hari was arrested in Paris, interrogated for months by Captain Ledoux, denied access to her allies and lovers. She wept, diverted, protested her innocence and her loyalty to France. But the evidence was inexorable. Her trial in July was a spectacle, fit for the woman who had made her life a stage. The press devoured every detail. The prosecutors turned every costume and every relationship into proof of villainy. Little proof was presented of secrets actually passed. Most witnesses spoke uncertainly, repeating hearsay and rumor. But the climate of fear was suffocating. The French army was desperate for reasons behind escalade, and the public demanded scapegoats. Mata Hari was convicted as a German agent and sentenced to die. That on October 15, 1917, she faced her final audience. In the chill yard of the Vincennes barracks, she stood tall before the firing squad, refusing a blindfold, meeting their gaze with the same unwavering poise she had given every audience. The shots rang out, and she fell, Some say she blew a final kiss by the time her body was carried away. The myth of Mata Hari had already overtaken the reality. Newspapers printed lurid tales, some true, more invented, of secrets sold for fortunes and armies diverted by a single lover's word. She became the template for countless spy stories, a symbol of the irresistible, the foreign, the dangerously free woman. In truth, Mata Hari was both more and less than legend admits. She was ambitious and reckless, resilient and lonely, a pioneer and a victim of her own myth-making. To this day, her story endures, a lesson, a warning, and above all, an indelible mystery in the annals of espionage. If this story of shadows and secrets fascinated you, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Here on The Spy Archive, every tale hides another mystery, and the next one might just change the way you see history. If Mata Hari's story intrigued you, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us uncover more untold stories of history's greatest mysteries.